we have Chief David Crate from the Cree Fisher River, Canada. You are here. Okay. And then I believe some final comments by Renee. You had your hand up. And then after that, we have our presentation from one of our Dene leaders. So you are in stack.
Thank you very much. Nancy, and good morning. I bring greetings on behalf of the Fisher River Cree Nation community and our members. Also, I want to just thank the organizers for the late notice invite to say a few words. I was surprised this morning when Karen approached me and asked me if I'd share a few things. But so our elders always say that you have to be prepared for everything in life. And I want to share with you a little bit about our community. We're situated north of, well, not in northern Canada, but we call it sort of central Manitoba. The Cree people from Fisher River are the furthest Cree community situated south, except of course for the Cree people in Rocky Boy, Montana. But our people moved just about 137 years ago from the north to work towards setting up a farming community. But as many First Nation communities know, that when lands were given through treaty, that in most cases lands were really unsuitable for a lot of different things, including farming. But our people have worked hard at developing our lands since that time, even though we've gone through a lot of struggles, government policy, right, to hold us down. And we're one of the largest now fishing communities. We sustain our community through the fishing industry, one of the largest. We also live next to 10th largest freshwater lake in the world, which is Lake Winnipeg. And I want to just say that for future generations, we've been working hard at protecting that lake in conjunction with other First Nations that are situated around that body of water. And I want to just share a story on one of the things we've done which came to be last July. The community of Fisher River leadership and the elders made a decision over 10 years ago to try and protect as much of our traditional territory as possible. And when we approached government over 10 years ago, we didn't have, an actual plan on how we were going to do that. We just raised the issue with government that we needed to protect this land because of the water that was situated next to the land. And we come from also an area where there's a lot of agricultural production, mainly hog production. Manitoba is one of the largest hog production provinces in Canada. And we knew that because of the hog operations that we would have to do something to protect the water. So what we did, we asked the government to set aside land and make it a provincial park. We took a lot of criticism from some of the First Nations because we were using provincial legislation to protect an area. But the elders at that time told us that we have to do whatever we have to do to protect the land. And that was the only mechanism in place at that time. So that park came into existence just not quite a year ago. And it was through the work of the leadership and the community that we were able to do that. And a large part of that park is made up of water. 75% of the park is water, the Fisher Bay area. And we are now working on development of what we call a cooperative agreement, which basically is it's going to be a management agreement where the 3 First Nations in the area, Fisher River, Peguis, Jackhead, will manage the land and the water. Just a couple of days ago, prior to traveling here, I met with the Minister of Conservation from the province of Manitoba and laid out the plan that we're proposing for management of the park. And the province is very open, at least at this point in time, to work with us and the other First Nations on having this agreement put together, and where we would create the board and we would manage the area. So that's one of the things that we've done to try and protect this area. I also want to acknowledge Karen for traveling up to our community last summer. We hosted a national gathering. We call it the National Cree Gathering, and we had Cree communities from across the country travel to Fisher River. The main intent of that gathering is to share knowledge, everything from our ceremonies to our language. And we know it's very important to retain that for our people, in particular our young people. And we had a gathering over a number of days where the elders from different communities shared what they carry, everything from the ceremonies to the language. And we also talked about the environment, how important it is across the country to come together and come up with ways and ideas of how we can work together to protect the environment. And in Canada, as you're probably aware, there's a lot of resource development, and right now there's a lot of discussions around the tar sand development to the west. And talking with some of the leadership from that area, the Cree communities, there's a big concern, of what's going to happen, and has happened, I guess, for a number of years since that development started. And basically, what we're talking about is sharing that information, that knowledge, that of what's happening with the land and the water to the west. And why we need to get involved to the Fisher River people is because we live close to Lake Winnipeg, and it's got a huge basin which starts from the Rocky Mountains and all the way west to then to the east to Ontario, and all streams, rivers, they end up in Lake Winnipeg. So at some point in time, we're going to be impacted by those developments. So I just want to say too that one of the key things that we have to continue to do, and the lady that was up here this morning talking about that, what the elders had, told her what you have to do, and we take, the same approach to what we do with our children. And the elders last summer talked a lot about that, about knowledge transfer, the importance of, being a parent, a grandparent, that we have to really work towards sharing our knowledge with our kids, and we do that locally in our community. We do a lot of workshops with our youth in the community, everything from environment. We just wrapped up a 3-day gathering in our community last week where we had youth from across the province. First Nation youth come to the community and talked about a whole number of topics. And the other thing we do too is we bring youth facilitators into our community, youth speaking to youth that are knowledgeable, that have received those teachings from the elders. And we think that's really important. And also, we do a lot of promoting of education in our community. Like, I just want to, I know she's probably going to get me later for this, but I'm traveled here with my granddaughter. Her name's Taylor. Maybe stand up, Taylor, or something. But she's just wrapping up her first year at the University of Winnipeg, and she's working towards a Bachelor of Science. And she talked to me just a few days ago about the different areas that she can move into in the area of science, and she's looking at Indigenous studies also as a part of her education. So I'm really happy, and but I guess the point is that it's really important that we have to educate our youth and encourage them to undertake studies. At some point in time when they complete their studies, that hopefully they'll come back to our communities, or at least work in the area of environmental protection. And I'm sort of one of the other things I just want to mention before I finish is getting involved in any way possible. I got to tell you something that happened just recently. I was asked by the Premier for the province of Manitoba if I'd consider taking a position with Manitoba Hydro. It's one of the largest crown corporations for the province of Manitoba, and their main focus is hydro development. So when he asked if I'd consider sitting on this crown corporation, I told him I needed some time to think about it. And more and more I thought about it. I thought, okay, if I can get involved with this board is one of the largest, and it's also involved with hydro development and water. And so I did. And one of the good things that happened along with the appointment, there was 2 other First Nation members asked also to sit with this board. So we've had our first meeting about a month ago, and we had a good opportunity to sit and talk, about ensuring that, we're involved now. We can make policy change, with this Crown Corporation, and that's something that we're going to be working on. Because issues like around hydro development, especially for Manitoba, is a lot of traditional land has been flooded in northern Manitoba. A lot of First Nations have been impacted, and I guess the point is, if you can get involved at any level, be government, crown corporations, I view it as an opportunity to make change, and so that's give you a bit of a snapshot of some of the things that I'm involved in and what I promote. I just wanted to also, before I wrap up, I just want to acknowledge the people that travel from 4 directions to come here. This is my first time up in this particular area, and I was really honored to get the invite to travel this way. I just want to acknowledge again the organizers, the elder this morning, and just say, Egose, and thank you very much.